Welcome back. Our sign language interpreter is Bayon Abuli. And remember, we would love to hear from you. You can send us your comments and feedback on KBC Channel 1. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter. You could also send me a message on Cynthia Nyamai on all the platforms. Now, the government plans to borrow 923 billion shillings from the local and international markets in a bid to plug a gaping hole in the country's expenditure plan. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has told Parliament that the government will borrow 635.5 billion shillings from the domestic market, while 287.7 billion shillings will be sourced from the external markets. Warimon Jenga has more updates on the numbers.
Thursday afternoon, the man of the moment, John Mbadi Ngongo, strolled inside the National Assembly chambers with the traditional budget briefcase in hand, ready to make his maiden speech. And when he stood up, he never disappointed. For 2 hours and 9 minutes, CS Mbadi, without a break, outlined the government's expenditure plan for the fiscal year 2025-2026, highlighting top priority areas.
As part of the process, the government is focused on broadening the tax base while reducing the burden of compliance. In this regard, we have prioritized sectors such as the digital economy, agribusiness, and small and medium enterprises in tax education and outreach programs.
The Treasury boss presented before the August House a 4.29 trillion shillings spending plan, which is 22.3% of the gross domestic product. Of this, recurrent expenditure will receive the lion's share at 3.13 trillion shillings, equivalent to 16.3% of GDP, while development expenditure has been capped at 693.2 billion shillings, or 3.6% of the GDP. Kenya Revenue Authority has been tasked to collect 3.3 trillion shillings, equivalent to 17.2% of GDP. Of these, ordinary revenue is projected at 2.8 trillion shillings, while ministerial appropriation in aid is projected at 567 billion shillings.
Our focus in the financial year 2025-26 and over the medium term will be to strengthen domestic resource mobilization through the following key initiatives. First, continue with the implementation of the national tax policy and the medium-term revenue strategy to provide a consistent and predictable framework for tax administration and policy formulation. Second, continue with the automation of tax administration processes to improve the overall efficiency of the tax system. And third, enhancing non-tax revenue collection by enabling ministries, departments, and agencies to generate income through the services they provide to the public.
Development expenditure and long-term investments have been reduced by 14.6 billion shillings from 707.8 billion shillings to 693.2 billion shillings, while recurrent expenditure has been allocated 3.13 trillion shillings. Counties are expected to receive 405.1 billion shillings as their equitable share. The government plans to borrow locally and internationally 923.2 billion shillings with the intention of reducing the deficit to 4.8% from the current 5.1%. On debt repayment, a total of 1.1 trillion shillings will be used to repay debts. Education takes the largest portion of the budget, which has increased by 1.6 billion shillings to 702.7 billion shillings from 701.1 billion shillings, accounting for 28.1% of the entire budget. To support Kenya's infrastructure sector and refurbishment of roads, the National Treasury has allocated 217.3 billion shillings, the second highest allocation, followed by national security, which has received 202.3 billion shillings. The health sector has been given 138.1 billion shillings, out of which 6.2 billion shillings will go towards the universal health coverage. The agriculture sector has received 47.6 billion shillings, while the affordable housing program allocation has been pegged at 128.3 billion shillings. allocation to Parliament has been increased to 48 billion shillings, while the Judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission will receive 27.8 billion shillings. Weri Mujenga for Prime Edition.